I have this video of a pastor um, pretty much going off on TYT here. I wouldn't say going off. It was more of giving some pushback. Um, but the Young Turks, uh, very liberal, very left media source here. I like to think I'm more in the middle of the things. I align a lot more with a lot of Republican views, but I have some understanding of Democrat views as well. So let's see how apparently he destroys these guys. So we'll take a look at this.
Written for immoral, unjust people. The Constitution was written for moral, spiritual people who could discern the times and the seasons through the Word of God. MAGA Black, I know the plight that's going on in the inner cities, behind the scenes as a pastor for 22 years. There's nowhere else to go but to come back home. I'm talking to the black community, back home to the Republican Party, because that's what has to happen.
That Republican Party, if I can play, the reporter pushing back, that Republican Party is different than the one that they left, right?
That's why MAGA Black, we're talking about the policies that make sense, the policies that brought us together.
Right. So this is a good point. And honestly, if he would have played this smart, he could have taken what the reporter said here and used it against him. So he said the Republican Party is different than the one they left. Yes, it is different than the one they left. Originally, I think it was like back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. A lot of the black community aligned a lot more with the Republican views. Shortly after Jim Crow and all this went on, a lot of them were pushed into the Democrat Party simply because of a lot of the propaganda that they were pushing out. Again, a lot of the reason that the black community is where they are now is because of the way they decided to vote and what beliefs are instilled into them through the Democrat Party. I myself am a minority. I'm Hispanic. I was actually born in Mexico. I got my residency through legal means and whatnot. But I understand the view that minorities have and why they vote Democrat. A lot of my family recently has they were very held down, very tied down to Democrat views. I mean, when Donald Trump came up, man, they couldn't even believe it. And surprisingly enough, the majority of them did vote for him. I think we see him as, again, an outsider, someone that can really come in here and disrupt things. I mean, and now with all of the legal stuff that they're putting up against him, it kind of shows you even more. I mean, if they're trying to stop this guy this bad, maybe he's not as bad as you might think.
It just so happened it was under that brash New Yorker, some guy named Trump. Heard of him? but it was really what worked.
Wears a white shirt and a red tie, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God! But it's what worked. Cutting taxes, lowering the unemployment, raising employment. These things actually worked. Peace through strength. Everything that was done in our foreign trade, building up our military, all of those things worked. That's the Republican Party I'm talking about. America first. That's what has to happen. I'm not talking about this.
And I think we all stand with what he believes. America first. We're having the issue of America first. America first is what we all want, right? For some reason, we have money to push, to give to Ukraine, to give to this war, to that war. I mean, it's just money being tossed away from our borders, given to other countries when we should be giving that money, not even giving it. I mean, we should just keep that money within our own borders. I mean, go finish the border that Trump started. Send more personnel to go protect the border. I mean, there's a lot of things that must be done.
Rhino Republican Party. I'm talking about the Republican Party that freed the slaves, the party of Lincoln. We're talking about the party that when the slaves got out and they said, where we go? The first Republican Black Congress was initiated. That's the Republican Party I'm talking about, the party of Frederick Douglass. That's the party.
Why then are so many of our modern black leaders, deceased and living, why were they more associated with the Democratic Party? I'm not talking about in the 60s. I'm not talking about in the 70s or the 80s. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about John Lewis. I'm talking about Andrew Young and Julian Bond. I'm talking about Don McEachin, who we just talked about. Maybe Adam Clayton Powell takes us a little farther back, but you look at Benjamin Hooks. You know all the people I'm talking about. Why are they so associated with the Democratic Party? Why do they not see that that's where the Democratic Party is? Why the modern Democratic Party gave us first African-American president. We have the first African-American female vice president. Seems like that would be reason to celebrate.
Well, it goes back to family again. What was the family really all about? The family was about hard work, go to school, pay your bills, stay out of trouble, and The Democrat Party, if we really look real close, did the opposite. Massive incarceration,
Hmm.
totally indoctrinating our kids through things like CRT.
This gift will make your wife cry. It's the perfect way to show all your love for her.
Let's be fair, CRT is the emperor's new clothes, right? It's been taught by a couple of teachers in a couple of schools in a country of over 300 million people, right? That's not an epidemic.
Yeah, well, what happened was when they started saying that white men are the problem and black people will always be oppressed, that's an issue in a country called the United States of America.
Of course it's an issue, but it's not an issue because it's so isolated in little places where it's happened. Just like if there's somebody teaching a class that flies in the face of the Constitution, says the Constitution's a fake document. I'm not saying that exists, but if one person's doing it in the middle of Iowa, that's not a problem in America.
Well, what happened was that the division.
I kind of gotta say something here. So this is very true, and I have a lot of black friends that we were actually just having a conversation about this last week. Essentially, they were trying to figure out kind of what were the issues surrounding the Hispanic communities, and one thing that we kind of dove into was the destruction of family culture and what a family is supposed to be. Um, so no, yes, this is a nationwide issue. Again, he was saying mass incarceration. We have incarceration for minor things like marijuana, and a lot of times they were even given um, life for things like that. They were caught with a certain amount. Um, Again, illegal, shouldn't be doing it, but things like that, and keeping people in jail for things such like marijuana, that's not even a bad drug, to be honest with you, is partly leading to what the issue is. But then we have things like music. We took a deep dive into the effects that music and the culture of music within black and rap music have on people. I can't remember what else we talked about, but I'm gonna put the link to this video in the comment. You guys can go take a look at it. Um, Show your support or anti-support to the Young Turks. But I suggest you guys actually view this video on normal speed and actually listen to what the guy has to say, because he has a lot of good information in this video, in this interview that he does.
Anywhere can become division everywhere.
I'll play a little
So,
more of this.
as a pastor, it's a little leaven, leaven's a whole
And I'll
lump.
stop the
So,
video.
it's the little things that we ignore that keep a mountain and surmounting itself. Now it becomes an obstruction, it becomes an obstacle. And we allow these things, these little things, to continue. Now we're dealing with a Goliath. So, now we have to take down the giants of technology, the giants of what we call the uniparty. And so here we are. Now we have to really mean it, that if we're going to be solid and form solidarities, now has to happen. So that's what MAGA is really all about now.
But do you see MAGA as uniting? I mean, certainly it unites people behind it and its idea and this candidate. A lot of people say it's a cult. It's a cult of personality, you know?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before, but always.
And I have people here, Pastor, who are saying to me that they would
I have to actually step in real quick. So I see the cult side of things and what people mean by that, but in reality, it's more about the policies that we stand behind. Like I said, he did truly put America first when he was in office. It was one of the greatest times for the economy. Again, COVID was kind of uh, something that we didn't have control of and didn't really allow us to see what the presidency under Trump was like. But overall, it honestly felt like a pretty great economy. It felt like there was work for everybody. Everybody's working. Everybody had money to spend or whatnot. Um, so we really are going more belief behind the policies, and not it's not a cult like many believe or many of the liberal far left people say.
take a bullet for Donald Trump. He's not the president. He's not, that's unusual. You don't hear that a lot.
This is what has happened. All of the atrocities, the calamities, the whole debacle at the border, everything now is causing people to awaken to what America is really all about. So this awakening now is taking on personal interests. So every community now is saying, I got something to lose in this if we don't stand together. And so that's what we're seeing. When a person says that, that's a personal interest. He's saying, yeah, and everybody's not willing to die for it.
Well, I said I'm gonna post the video in the comments. You guys can go take a look at it. Like I said, play it back in regular speed. I had this playing at 1.25. Or actually, I'll let this thing play out at 1.5, and you guys, if you guys just want to watch it here.
Anybody. But there are some who will say it's that cause right now. That's what Patrick Henry said. Give me liberty or give me death. And now that we're hearing it again, it sounds to some foreign, but this is in the roots of this country. This is what America's all about. These men came from farmers and business people, and most of them were just wanting things to be better, who fought for this nation back in 1776.
You're talking about awakening. Part of awakening is woke, right? People talking about woke. What does that mean to you? What does the word woke mean?
Well, woke is a false idea of awakening. It does everything opposite of awakening, which is a revival, which comes from a spiritual stirring of one's consciousness. And so if you have a lot of dirt, in your mind, a lot of diluted or polluted things, what a revival does is shake the trees again, so now you can begin to see clearly. But what woke does, woke gives a false assimilation of action. Okay, I'm woke. Well, it doesn't give action.
Define it. What is woke?
It tells you what cannot work, what will not work in a people of community.
Right, but tell me what it is, though.
If I say I'm a man, and then I say all of a sudden I identify as a woman, that's woke. It gives demonstration of the total opposite of freedom, liberty, consciousness, all of those things. Woke actually shuts down. So it pretends its eyes are open, but their eyes are really asleep. And so when a person says that illegal immigration is cool, that's woke.
Why is that woke?
It's woke because we know a nation cannot survive off of bringing lottie-dottie, I'm being crazy now, but lottie-dottie and everybody into the country. A nation cannot remain sovereign if it keeps its borders open. And why do we expect America to do it when all these other nations, other places, close and shut their borders?
Isn't feeding you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, isn't that both a part of someone of the cloth as well as part of the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, but it's in the context of righteousness. A nation that is not lifted up, if it is exalted, it says righteousness exalts a nation. What does that mean? It means doing things right, or the right way, or God's way of doing things. But sin is a reproach to any people. So if I say, give me your poor, give me your farm, it was under the understanding of when you come in, you have to become us.
Okay, but who defines sin, right? I mean, for some people it's a sin to build a wall and say you can't come over it. To some people it's a sin to let that person in without checking their papers and giving them due process. I mean, who's to define it?
Well, I went to that class. God defines what sin is. And so as a Christian nation, a Christian Judeo nation, we cannot lose our roots in that, in understanding that the word of God is the infallible word of doctrine and truth.
Well, what if you're a Muslim in this country? What if you're an atheist? What if you're a Jew? What if you are Sikh or Hindu? One's precepts of religion are different than yours, different than mine, different than hers.
Well, this is what I love about this nation. Our founding fathers put together what is called the U.S. Constitution, the First Amendment, the freedom of what? Religion. It did that without wanting people to assimilate into a religion that controlled the people. And this nation was always designed to evangelize, even those that don't agree with us. And so disagreement does not mean disunity. It just means an opportunity for us to come together. That's why it's called a more perfect union. Our founding fathers knew, like Benjamin Franklin came out of the halls of Philly, Constitutional Hall, and the young lady asked him, what